Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, shockingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. Welcome aboard, everybody. Tonight is Wednesday, May 21st, 2025. This is a live show 1191. Ones are wild, three of a kind. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out, super casual around here. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And then sometimes I'll pontificate about a topic related to our hobby. Maybe we'll take a look at a game. Maybe like tonight, we're just hanging out. Got some questions in chat if you want, pick my brain about anything. Or maybe, there's a discussion that you'd like to have about something going on in the hobby. By all means, chime in. We're going to talk about that, of course, after the news. Don't start posting stuff yet in chat because it'll just disappear into the ether. Anyway, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be, once again, the founder and editor-in-chief. But you're going to find a lot of stuff that you're not going to see here on YouTube. But of course, you know what? You probably already know that. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. If you'd like to support the Gaming Gang, we do have a Patreon. You will find a link to that in the show notes. And if you want to hang with the gang over on Discord, we do have a Discord server. There is an invite link also in the show notes. And because this is a live stream, there is chat available. You do have to be a subscriber to the channel and have been so for at least 10 whole minutes before you can take part. But if you check those boxes, you want to say howdy, got a question, a comment, something you want to discuss a little bit later in the program, fire away. I will do my absolute best to respond. First out the gate tonight is Sean O'Donnell. Keith Ulu's also with us, as is Semper Buffo, Freddie P., Keith McGrath, Robert Santon, and Mike, and John Muscola. And maybe, just maybe, the lovely and talented Miss Sarah D. is lurking in the shadows. She's one of our chat moderators. She of the glittery banhammer. Very possible. Very possible. So welcome aboard, everybody. Let's jump on into the news because Modiphius Entertainment has actually released a new core rulebook for its miniatures skirmish level game, Fallout Factions. And I've got the dope. This rulebook expands the game's available factions from the Battle for Nuka World starter set, which featured the 3 raider gangs from Fallout 4's popular DLC. The new hardback rulebook contains everything players need to know to fight for the Wasteland, teaching them the rules of play, the in-depth campaign system, and showcasing the iconic factions of Fallout, from the Brotherhood of Steel and Super Mutants to Survivors and Raiders. Combined with the Fallout Factions Battle for Nuka World starter set, or the Fallout Factions Tokens and Terrain Pack 1, which isn't out yet, it's coming soon. Players will have everything they need to pick a faction and start their journey to rule their corner of the wasteland. This 112-page full-color hardcover contains an introduction to wargaming and all you'll need to play Fallout Factions. The core rules: you need to play the fast-playing, high-risk, high-reward tabletop skirmish war game. How to set up a game with an overview of the in-depth scenario system that keeps each game interesting. There's the story phase, which are details for growing your crew and ascending to legend, or what to do if you end up a footnote in another crew's story. We've got faction lists for the Brotherhood of Steel, super mutants, survivors, raiders, as well as their weapons, perks, legends of the wasteland, and more. Whilst the Fallout Factions Battle for Nuka World starter set is set in a small and specific area, this book gives players the tools and factions to set their campaign anywhere in the wasteland. The games of Fallout Factions will use the same rules, with the biggest changes affecting crews off the battlefield. The expanded rules see 4 new factions added into the game: Brotherhood of Steel, Super Mutants, Survivors, and Raiders. Hazards and facilities have also been added, allowing crews to customize their home turfs. Specific scenarios have been replaced with objectives and hazards, which can be merged into hundreds of combinations to make each game feel unique. New Legends of the Wasteland are available to hire before each game, and the story phase has been updated to make campaigns more expansive and interwoven. Plus, players will be able to upgrade weapons, purchase chems, and unlock new perks for their crew. The 112-page hardcover carries an MSRP of $37. Now, I do want to mention the MSRP is indicated in the press release as $37, but if you go to modiphius.us, it's $41 and change. And you know that changes all the time because of the exchange rate. But I thought that was kind of weird because I was like, hey, $37? Okay. And then I went to put together the news piece, which will be up tomorrow morning. And I went and got the link, and I'm like, wait a second, this is $41 and like something like 37 cents. I was like, okay. All right. Okay. Well, Sarah D is with us this evening. Howdy, howdy. Kathy Evans has also popped on into chat, as well as W Forge. So Keith McGrath is not too into mini games, but this looks high quality. We did get the game that came prior to Fallout Factions. I don't remember the title of it offhand. That was from Modiphius Entertainment. And the miniatures had some pretty good detail to them. They were small. So they were about 26 millimeters, 26, 28. They weren't kind of the meatier 32 millimeter that we tend to see nowadays more often than not. But they're pretty nicely done. And really didn't get an opportunity to check out too much of the gameplay. But all in all, I'm sharing the images that, of course, they've included in the press kit, because those are pretty cool looking dioramas they've put together with those miniatures. W. Forge says they like the Fallout TV series, but have not played the role-playing game. I would ask, have you played any of the video games? That, I think, would probably be a far, far bigger impact on what you think of the role-playing game as well as the miniatures game here. Very cool. Very cool. Pete Straklich is with us, as is Crooks44 and Game Cat. And they're Tessie Trekky's saying that 2D20 role-playing game is very, very crunchy. W4 is saying, I don't think 2D20 is crunchy. I got to be honest, I don't think it's all that crunchy either. But you also got to keep in mind, every one of the Modiphius Entertainment role-playing games that do utilize 2D20 are different. Some are crunchier than others. Like we talk about this all the time. I think the lightest of the currently available 2D20 role-playing games is probably Star Trek Adventures 2nd edition. So there is that. Moonright Long, currently up for crowdfunding, is Invisible Sun Indigo, as well as Invisible Sun, the Electric Sun. And here's the scoop. You think you live in the real world? You don't. This world you see around you right now, the computer or phone you're reading this on, or the computer or phone you're listening to this on, the room you sit in, your job, it's all shadow. A world illuminated only by the gray sun. You came here long ago for shelter, but now it has sapped your real memories and become your prison. Awaken and discover your true self. Return to the actuality and to Saturn, the city under the indigo sun. You are a Visley, a wielder, I should say, of magic, a shaper of reality, a student of secrets and the real truths that lay hidden within the actuality. You hid in shadow to escape the war, but the war is now over, and your home has called you back. Invisible Sun is a tabletop role-playing game of surreal fantasy, magic that truly feels magical in play, and deep and complex characters enmeshed in compelling, powerful stories. The player characters are Visley, wielders of magical power, recently returned to their true home, the actuality. A world that seems like a surreal dream to those of us toiling aimlessly in the boring gray realm you and I falsely believe is the real world. These characters face incredible challenges, visit breathtaking places, and discover secrets so astonishing that the only ones who can cope with them are those who understand the truth that powers the universe. Magic. This backer kit project has already funded. It is rapidly approaching the $200,000 mark. It may have already hit it now. You can reserve a copy of the Invisible Sun Indigo box set with PDFs for a pledge of $179. If you want to grab just the PDFs for that, you can do so for a $35 pledge. If you want to get your hands on the print edition with PDF of Invisible Sun, the Electric Sun, which is a new supplement, you can do that for a $54 pledge, or you can get just the PDF for a $19 pledge. Now, if you want, you can grab both physical releases for a $199 pledge, or get all of the PDFs for a $50 pledge. Now, this project will run through June 6th. It funded like that. Expected delivery on the Indigo box set is next spring. The Electric Sun is expected to follow in the second half of 2026. W. Ford says, Invisible Sun is back, baby. Melwinius from York is popping on in to say hello. Good to see you once again. So, a few things to point out. Number one, I would have shared the crowdfunding video that Monte Cook Games put together, but the background music set off the copyright flag. So I was like, oh, not going to be sharing that. It was almost 3 minutes. Lot of artwork, lots of artwork. And as Keith McGrath mentions, and I certainly agree, the art looks cool and weird, but not gross out weird, just bizarre kind of artwork. Crooks44 says they got their copy of, I believe it's Skyrim, not Skirm in the Gutterlands. It's a rules light miniature skirmish game, role-playing game. Oh, maybe it is Skirm in the Gutterlands. I thought maybe it was the Skyrim, because there is a Skyrim miniatures game out there, which was, I do believe, Modiphius Entertainment as well. I do think so. All right. So once again, no video. Sorry about that. And this is not a new edition of Invisible Sun. This is, I want to say, they're considering it not a reimagining. Maybe it is what they said, a reimagining of it. It's just a different presentation. So as far as things go, and you're seeing what comes in the box set. Well, you were seeing what comes in the box set. If you had the big black brick, well, it was bigger than a brick, the big black box that kickstarted and then was available, and I forget how much it was. I thought that was $200. I thought it was $199, something like that. I might be wrong. Crix44 says it is Scrim in the Gutterlands. So cool, very nice. Yeah, there are a lot of skirmish level miniatures games out there by a multitude of very small publishers they're pretty cool, pretty interesting stuff. Probably deserve a lot more attention than they actually get. Keith McGrath says a reskin. No, like I said, I think it is a reimagining or a representation. I forget the exact word that they used, but it was very important that they were making sure people understood. If you've got the big black box, if you've got Invisible Sun, you do not need to order Indigo. Now, the Electric Sun is brand new. That is a new source book or a splat book, if you want to refer to it that way, with new magic, new characters. I think there's an adventure in it as well. W. Forge says, didn't the original come with a bust of a hand? Yes. And if you would like, there is a pledge level for Indigo that also has a hand. I spotted that, but I was like, I'm not going to share an image of all the stuff that's in I think it's like a $400 pledge level or something. But pretty cool, pretty cool. And if you were watching last night, you heard me say that it's possible we might actually get to start looking at some Monte Cook Games stuff. Well, of course it won't be this because it's not ready yet, but we'll find out. You know, if I remember correctly, I think the last time that, and this is a few years ago, that kind of bounced back and forth a little bit with Monte Cook Games was, and the reason why I didn't start reviewing it is because they just wanted to send PDFs. And I was like, I'm like, I don't do written reviews anymore, and I just do video reviews, and PDF reviews with video. Number one is a hell of a lot of work. And I find them boring. Myself personally, I find it boring. I would rather watch somebody flipping through a book because you're going to see more. At least that's what I've found. Don't know. Tessie Trekkie points out that Fallout 2D20 is the crunchiest of the 2D20. That I would agree with you on. I would definitely agree with you on that. And funny enough, I thought it was pretty funny about with now I suddenly saw Daggerheart pop up and I lost my train of thought. Oh, I was going to say, with the Fallout role-playing game, I thought it was funny that a lot of people were pissed off that it only had like range bands. And I was like, really? You got all this other crunch and you're going to be upset that it just has range bands? I was like, wow. Yeah, that's fandom for you, huh? W. Ford says, no chance of getting a review copy of Daggerheart. We're going to talk about Daggerheart in a couple of moments, actually. But first, let's talk about the Old School Essentials Advanced Fantasy being the focus of a money-saving offer over at Bundle of Holding. And I got the deets on the deal. Adventurer. This Old School Essentials Advanced Fantasy Bundle presents, well, you guessed it, Old School Essentials Advanced Fantasy, the complete and definitive version of the Old School Essentials tabletop role-playing rules set from Necrotic Gnome. Old School Essentials Advanced Fantasy is a complete best of retelling. It's the basic expert Dungeons & Dragons rules, streamlined and expanded with reams of new character options, monsters, and magic inspired by Advanced Dungeons & Dragons First Edition. Assassins, poisons, drow, half-orcs, mimics, zorns, vorpal swords, iron stones, and even the dreaded Terroresque. Presented in the clear and elegant Old School Essentials style and 100% compatible with the basic expert rules, these voluminous digital tomes are perfect for anyone new to Old School Essentials. And if you already love OSE, check the 12 complete adventures in this lineup, designed by old school luminaries like Brad Kerr, Diego Niguria, Luka Rajek, and many more. For just $7.95, you'll get all 3 complete rule books in this Offers Starter Collection, which has a retail value of $37.50, as DRM-free ebooks, PDFs, of course, including the Old School Essentials Advanced Fantasy Player's Tome, Referee's Tome, as well as the reference booklet, along with several free play aids. And if you pay more than the current threshold price of $19.98, which may have gone up a penny or two since I wrote this all down, you'll level up and also get this Offers entire bonus collection with 6 more titles worth an additional $65, including Old School Essentials Adventure Anthology 1, which I have reviewed, Anthology 2, which I have reviewed, plus 4 full-length adventures, Halls of the Blood King, which we actually have a written review of that, Holy Mountain Shaker, I do believe we've got a review of that, Incandescent Grottos, and Isle of the Plangent Mage. These savings will run through June 9th. Okay, so gotta say, if you've had any interest in checking out Old School Essentials, if you've heard people talk about Old School Essentials, this is the deal to grab. I do not think that OSE has ever been featured on Humble Bundle, unless they did some sort of like an OSR bundle with a bunch of different publishers. Then maybe it trickled in there a little bit. But this is a fantastic deal, especially $7.95 to get the Player's Tome and the Referee's Tome. And then you also get the reference booklet, which has a bunch of the tables in it. That's what that happens to be. Very nice deal. And as I had mentioned, a lot of those adventures have gotten reviews. I liked the Anthology 1 and 2. I thought that was pretty good. Thought that was pretty well done. They each have 4 adventures. And out of both the volumes, 3 out of 4 were solid adventures. So keep that in mind. Chardell says they think that Humble Bundle did an OSR bundle. Yeah, non-open game license stuff. Can't figure out where they've gotten OSE Advanced otherwise. Shazama85 has popped on in and said, hey, everybody, dilemma. Watch the Gaming Gang or work on their game for the weekend. All right. My personal recommendation, work on your game for the weekend, and you can catch this show whenever you have some free time. Make sure you take care of your players. Yeah. See that? See the kind of guy I am, right? Look at that. Look at that. All right. So yes, this is a pretty sweet deal. This is a pretty solid bundle of holding. And Bundle of Holding's got a bunch of bundles going on right now. I think at last count, there are 7 which are running, and most of them I have shared news of, and I think there's like 1 or 2 that I'm kind of like, nah. Dark Autumn Scribe has joined us, says, noise. OSC is fantastic. Yeah, I like OSC. One critique I have, and I shared this when I did my reviews of the Player's Tome and the Referee's Tome. If you are not familiar with role-playing games, if you've never played a role-playing game, never run a role-playing game, there is no information there as far as, well, how the hell do you play the game? So in a situation like that, I recommend that people pick up a PDF of BX, because at least with that, you get the breakdown. Oh, okay, so here's an example of play and stuff like that. Whereas with Old School Essentials, it's just, okay, here are all the rules cleaned up, clear as day. How do I incorporate all this stuff together? Beats the hell out of me if you're new. Melwinius from York says, can't attend to the live streams that often anymore from over the pond. Appreciate your takes and watch them afterwards. The small donations arrive. Well, thank you very much. Thank you kindly. It is much appreciated. I know that Robert made some donations as well. Want to thank him because those were not during live shows. He's made some donations on some of the videos that I've shared. Some of the, like, I don't know if they were the reviews or if they're just our live shows after the fact, but wanted to thank them as well. DB is with us in chat. All right, let's move on to our next news piece, because the eagerly anticipated Daggerheart high fantasy role-playing game is now out in print and PDF. Here's the latest from Darrington Press. Daggerheart is a heroic fantasy tabletop role-playing game designed for narrative-driven play. Punctuated by fast-paced and dynamic combat, the system's collaborative tools encourage everyone at the table to be a storyteller. When it's time for the game mechanics control fate, players roll 1 hope die and 1 fear die, both 12-sided dice. Hey, have you noticed lately 12-sided dice are getting more love? Land of Eam, as an example. Grit, another example. So you're going to roll those 12-sided dice to determine the outcome. When the hope die is higher, you also gain hope to power future abilities and turn the tide in your favor. If the fear die is higher, the game master gains fear, which they'll use to challenge the characters and richly complicate the narrative. Every choice matters as the adventure hangs in the balance between hope and fear. In addition to dice, Daggerheart's card system makes it easy to get started and level up your character by bringing their capabilities to your fingertips. Ancestry and community cards describe the way your character's physicality and culture shape their identity. Meanwhile, subclass and domain cards grant your character plenty of exciting abilities and spells. Craft your unique character through the cards you choose and the story you tell. With streamlined rules, 279 beautifully illustrated cards, easy onboarding for fast pickup and play, story-first mechanics, and more, Daggerheart is calling. And with the core set, you'll get everything you need to play Daggerheart, because it comes with all the tools to build worlds and tell stories with your gaming group. You'll find core mechanics for players and GMs, along with guidance for best practices. 9 domains, 9 classes, 18 ancestries, 9 communities, and 189 unique abilities and spells to customize your characters. Once again, there's the aforementioned 279 beautifully illustrated cards for tabletop use. Of course, if you're getting the PDF, you'll get those where you'll print them out if you want to use up all the ink in your neighborhood. You've also got weapons, armor, and rollable loot tables for every tier of play. Over 130 adversaries and 19 environments, including tips on how to improvise and build your own 6 campaign frames to build out a personalized journey with your table, as well as an expansive appendix to reference domain cards, character sheets, additional sheets, and maps. The core set, which includes the 368-page hardcover, 279 cards, and the PDF, carries an MSRP of $59.99. If you want to just grab the PDF alone, you can do so over at Drive-Thru RPG for $29.99. All right, so let's take a look to see what people are saying in chat, because I know this is going to be another role-playing game that a lot of people have been talking about, a lot of outlets have been talking about, and some people are excited. Some people are kind of getting a little, I don't know. So DB says, Jeff, you're currently being roasted on another channel for your woke mob stream. Gird up, buddy. Trolls will be incoming. I don't give a shit. Whatever. If they pop into chat, we'll just boot them out. Don't care. Kind of curious though, what channel is it? Not that I'm going to even give them a peek. I'm just kind of curious. Pete Strakowitz says, interesting system. James Mitchell's with us. Keith McGrath says, they're okay with the card mechanics. I believe all the cards really do is just provide kind of like a visual reference for your players as far as their characters' abilities and equipment and stuff like that. I could be wrong, but I thought that's mainly what the cards are for. Now, of course, you're seeing what you'll find in the core set. And I got to say, that insert to hold the cards, I wonder, oh, it's Diversity in Dragons. I don't give a shit. That host is an ass clown anyway with their, Diversity in Dragons. Well, that's a misnomer right there as far as the title of their channel. Tessie Dragon says, oh joy, it's a misnamed channel that isn't diverse. Yep. Yeah. So what? Who cares? Whatever. They're just, you know what? They're crying about why they're deciding to talk shit about me is because I had, just as a throwaway reference, had mentioned that they were just some fucking ass clown. It's like, whatever. Just somebody, sitting there cranking away at the hate grind. All right. So anyway, as far as Daggerheart, I know there are a lot of reviews out there, and I took a peek at a few. Just get an idea, right? And I figured it was gonna be something along the lines of what we kind of normally see from some of the outlets out there, and it was. Now, here's the weird thing, because we've talked about this in the past as well, and that is the fact that a lot of folks out there figuring this is going to come out, this is going to fizzle out like Candela Obscura, which might not. I know there's an 8-part critical role that's going to be featuring Daggerheart. But here's something I saw in one of the reviews that I thought was kind of weird. It was a summation, and it said that Daggerheart is going to appeal to the people who play like Dungeons and Dragons. That's who it's going to appeal to. Dungeons and Dragons players and game masters. That it's, I guess the combat's a little crunchy. So it's probably not going to appeal to people who are looking for maybe a more rules light approach to their fantasy role-playing games. So the funny thing is, I thought, you know, that's kind of weird. It's going to appeal to the people who play D&D, but the people who play D&D tend to play D&D. You know, they don't tend to veer out. I mean, people play 5e or now, 5.5. They don't tend to experiment too much. So I thought, well, I don't know, is saying that, hey, this is going to appeal to people who play D&D, but not other gamers. I'm kind of like, I don't think that's a good thing. So we'll see. We'll find out. But we might get a review from Sammy for the core set, but it'll be a written review because it's the PDF. But no, you're not going to see. You're not going to see me do a review of it because I have really absolutely no connection with Darrington Press. And funny enough, there are game companies out there who, are more on the like 5e spectrum that I kind of scare them. One of the reasons is because I cover a lot of old school stuff. I don't know. DB says, frog people seem to be all the rage. Was there a game with frog people last night? Funny enough, I was thinking kind of the same thing. I was like, oh, not that, why are frog people so popular? I was just kind of like, hey, that's kind of weird because Land of Eam has like frog folk. I was like, okay. Anyway, somebody said the other channel had a picture of me. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Freddie P says all the reviews they've seen are like 6 minutes and say it's amazing. I'm not necessarily saying these people are not being honest with you. I'm just saying, because you're not going to see a review from me personally. I trust Sammy's reviews, but I'll tell you what, we're not going to see a review of it anytime soon from Sammy. So tread lightly maybe, or go to the outlets you trust. Go and check out the outlets you trust and then make your decision that way. But I'll tell you what, 368-page hardcover plus the cards, and you get the PDF for $59.99. That's the way we see pricing now. That's it's not bad. I mean, that's a pretty decent deal. It really is. Doom Colonist says Dragonbane allows folks to play as frog persons as well. Are there? I know we've got the mallards. We've got the wolves. I don't know. Relighter gamers with us. I dissected a frog once. Yes, I think most of us had to. The smell will be ingrained in my memory forever. Yeah, the formaldehyde-soaked frog. Yeah, I remember. I remember. All right, Melwinius from York is rocking out, it looks like. Very cool. Very nice. So, yes, Keith McGrath says, yeah, I know Dragonbane has duck people. I like cool. Very cool. Very cool. Let's see. Anything else? Oh, Clantos is with us as his peaceful porcupine. They said, oh, hate conservative trolls. I like my games to be highly woke. There are other games out there for other people. Yeah, people who play D&D already play D&D. Offer something different. Yeah, I can see that. Clanto says they played 5e and veered out into Pathfinder and then into Castles and Crusades. Sweet. Very nice. I'm not saying that everybody who plays D&D is locked in to Dungeons and Dragons, but a great many of them are. Tends to be how things work. All right, so I actually still have one last news piece. So let's tackle that. Because there's a new adventure supplement for Delta Green. It's out in print and PDF. I've got the skinny on God's Hunt from Arc Dream Publishing. Caught in the Spiral. 4 scenarios embrace the works and deaths of agents between 2016 and 2020, Years called the spiral in the Delta Green campaign God's Teeth. That span of cruelty and corruption in American government seemed a bitter interregnum, a momentary eruption of spite, a spasm in the growth of a nation, baffling and grim. The agents trapped in God's hunt might have had the clarity to call it what it was, a faltering first step, a yearning reflex of the desperate cruelty that runs like rot through the American psyche, a preparation for revelations to come. These operations offer the merest hints. We've got God's eye. A baffling disappearance leads the agents to confront the inexorable government panopticon. Not sure what that is. They must face unnatural revelations unleashed by the death of privacy and survive desperate revenge beneath the sleepless skies. We also have God's breath. A Delta Green friendly leaves a frantic voicemail about a Denver prisoner vomiting up an alien worm. Your agents must identify the unnatural threat, trace it to its source, burn it out. Just be careful of the smoke. There's God's Law. A shockingly gruesome death leads the agents to Los Angeles. A police gang, one of many, has twisted older, deeper laws toward the tired avarice of corruption. How far did the agents dare go to cut out the rot of the unnatural? And then there's God's Light. A mass shooting in America is hardly news, but the wreckage left by one shooter catches Delta Green's attention. They discover a surprising app that curates social media, picking and choosing experiences to suit your desires. But it may reach far deeper than that. It may reach strange places that stand on either side of the border between worlds, between realities, between madness and evil, and force the agents to choose. This 236-page hardcover with PDF is now available. Carries an MSRP of $49.99. You can grab just the PDF right now over at Drive-Thru RPG for $24.99. Do want to mention, these 4 adventures had released previously as PDFs. They are now all collected in one volume, and it is also, as I mentioned, available in print. Very cool. Always cool to see some Delta Green action out there. Keith McGrath asks, does Delta Green have frog people? It's got deep ones. Missed it by that much. W4 Jazz, is there a God series in Delta Green? Yes. So these can all be tied into the God's Teeth campaign, or you can play these as standalone adventures. It's completely up to you. But yes, they do have a tie-in to God's Teeth, but you do not have to actually be running that campaign. Yes, Cthulhu, Don Adams, that's right. Maxwell Smart. Elliot Miller does a pretty decent Maxwell Smart impersonation. Okay, so let's see. Doom Colonist says, oh, the frog people are actually playable in the bestiary, not the core rule book. Yeah, I was thinking, I was like, wait a second, because there aren't a ton of races in the core rule book. Peaceful Porcupine says their current love is new SR, tiny D6, easy D6, and the like. They don't want high crunch anymore. I don't need it myself either. I want a little bit of, tactical options in combat and stuff, but I don't necessarily want my combats running 30 minutes or more. I want to get some adventuring done. So, Peaceful Porcupine says, I want there to be more variety of high crunch for people who enjoy that, not just fantasy. Yeah, I agree. DB says they're Nick Caging over Delta Green. Keith McGrath says they've yet to try Delta Green. Another option here that I always point out, if you haven't checked out Delta Green, eyes peeled for the bundles that pop up, because Delta Green does pop up in bundles multiple times a year. Semper Buffo says, your fault, Jeff. I just pulled the trigger on the Delta Green slipcase. I hate you. It's good stuff. It is very good stuff. Melwinius from York says, have a look at the Black Oath games, some solo games there. Well, I just happen to have some Black Oath games, including Salvage and Sorcery. June is going to be indie month here on the Gaming Gang channel. So you are going to see, well, I mean, the reality is you see indie stuff all the time, because if it's not, like Wizards of the Coast, everybody else is kind of the indies, even Paizo, even Chaosium Inc., even Free League Publishing, but I don't refer to them as the indies. But you will see some stuff from small publishers. And yes, I do have some Black Oath Entertainment goodness to be bringing you. Straight Kismet's with us in chat. Said they got the Impossible Landscape bundle for Delta Green that I shared the other day. I believe that is still going. I think it's still running. Might have a few days left to that. Like I had mentioned when we were talking about Bundle of Holding a little bit earlier, there's like 7 bundles going on right now. I did not take a peek to see if there's something new over at Humble Bundle. I will definitely take a peek at that. See if there's something to share on tomorrow's news. All right, so that was the news for tonight. Of course, I talked about Drive-Thru RPG a few times. So if you are going to visit Drive-Thru RPG, Storytellers Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild, Wargame Vault, any of the drive-through comics, fiction, so forth sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banners. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. It does not matter what banner you click on. So I tend to have banners for Drive-Thru RPG. If you're going to Storyteller's Vault for your World of Darkness stuff, you can certainly click on that banner, go to Drive-Thru RPG, and then click on the Storyteller's Vault icon, and it will still keep the affiliate code. So Chris Lundgren's with us. Shazama85 says they got the core rules as a gift. I believe they might be talking about Delta Green. I had Delta Green when it first came out. So I picked up Delta Green when it was from Pagan Press, and it was just a supplement for Call of Cthulhu. In fact, I'm trying to remember if they had Cthulhu Now or not yet. I think they did. Boy, I'll tell you, Pagan Press, man, there was some really good Call of Cthulhu stuff they released. Really, really good. Sadly, it's all out of print, but man, they had some supplements, some adventure supplements that were really good. A couple of campaigns, they were really nice. And then, of course, there was their zine, The Unspeakable Oath, which used to come out, I think it was twice a year, and then it was yearly, and then it was like every 3 years or so. But yeah, sadly, they're long gone. Keith McGrath asked, what system is Delta Green? It is its own system, but it is built off of basic role playing. So Call of Cthulhu. So it is percentile based, but it is its own thing. If you are looking for something that's also Delta Green, but a little bit different, it's 60s, 70s is the fall of Delta Green. And that is D6. So Melvina says, honestly, Jeff, I miss live. The job doesn't make it possible that often. Oh, Shazama85 said they were referring to the Final Fantasy role-playing game. Oh, okay. They were asking if I've already reviewed it. No, I have not. And to be honest, I would certainly say it probably won't. And reason behind it is I'm not that well versed in Final Fantasy. So But yeah, I know it was pretty popular. I don't know if you can play as a frog in it, though. Maybe you can. All right. So anyway, so that was the news tonight. And of course, if you like the video, if you dig the channel, if you find the Gaming Gang to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just enjoy what we do, you can always support us over on Patreon. We have 4 tiers of membership. That's right. 4 tiers you can jump aboard for as little as $5 a month. And every live show, I give a shout out to those Patreon members at the $10 or higher tier of support. So big thank you to Tessie Trekkie, Dan Webb, Tier 2 DM, GameCat, Pete Strakulich. Got a few of those folks hanging out with us in chat right now. And tip of the cap to our $25 supporters, The Madman and Agile Monk. Thank you very kindly. All right. So no topic tonight. We're just going to kind of shoot the shit for a little bit. So I haven't noticed a huge like wave of trolls hit us in chat. I had to be honest, I don't think we will. I do not think we will. Now, that's not to say that we're not going to end up with a bunch of, because I already got a fair amount of critical comments, negative comments from that the woke mob has not destroyed your favorite role-playing game. And what I get a kick out of people who see the title and then they comment. Let's not watch it, right? Well, I know enough from just the title. It's like, okay. Pete Strakowitz says, we got your back, Jeff. Relighter Gamer says, I send you moral support. Oh, comments and stuff. I don't care. Think I care, but come on. It's like, I got enough things going on in my life. You think I honestly give a shit? Shout out says, I don't think that guy has enough active subs to come trolling. I don't know. I have no idea. I have never popped on over there to check out the channel. I've just heard things through the grapevine about some of his shitty attitudes, I guess we'll say. All right, so Keith has a question, and I will actually get to that answer right after a brief intermission. Oh, you know what? I don't think I put the right intermission video. All right. Okay. Sorry, gang. You're going to end up seeing yesterday's intermission video because I was running late and I forgot to change it on over. So here we go. You know what? I'll tell you what. We'll just start off with yesterday's, and I'll be able to switch it within about 15 seconds or so. Enjoy.
Oh, the time is now, the time is here. Now's the time for a bite of cheer. A tasty delight where the price is right. Well, look at here, you'll dig this sight. The moment's handy for a piece of candy. Just name your brand, they're all so grand. Hey, what do you think of a nice cool drink?
Folks, and a hearty welcome to our drive-in theater. We have a wonderful evening's entertainment lined up for you, one that will provide several hours of pleasurable relaxation and diversion for you and your family. Did you fail to dress up for tonight's show? No tie, an old shirt and slacks, a house dress? Well, don't give it a thought. We're glad you came as you are. We just want you to enjoy yourselves. Don't forget to visit our refreshment center during the intermission or any time. You'll love the tasty array of snacks we have to offer. So will the youngsters. Everything is quality and so good. We hope you'll make this a weekly visit. Bring the family. Bring your friends. There are always wonderful new pictures to see, delightful snacks to nibble, a gay, pleasant evening for all. Oh, a word of caution. Don't drive over 10 miles an hour in the theater area for your safety's sake. And Mom or Pop, Go with the kids when they leave the car. We hope you have a wonderful time. Come back soon.
Introducing the world's most famous lion tamer, Clyde Lionheart.
Popcorn, fresh popcorn at the snack bar.
Now, Clyde Lionheart will have Leo jump through the flaming circle while he, blindfolded, drinks a Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola, ice cold Coca-Cola at the snack bar.
I am a oodle.
I am Doodle.
We'd like to teach Yoodle how to talk like a oodle. Oh, simply take a oodle, you put it in the moodle, so good becomes goodle.
All you do is add a oodle.
Plenty is poodle-enty.
Candy is Coodle-Andy.
Goodle-poodle-enty, goodle-enty.
Doodle-licious.
Oodle talk is fun. Just add oodle to any word or name. John is Joodle on. Mary is Moodle-ary. Get oodles and oodles of good and plenty candy in every box.
Goodle and poodle-enty.
That's good and plenty candy.
Oodles and oodles and
And
oodles.
they taste doodle-dandy.
Good and plenty oodles.
Lots of fun to choodle.
Goodle and poodle-enty, goodle-enty.
Learn the secret of oodle talk. Collect and trade the oodle dictionary cards on boxes of good and plenty candy.
Doodle-licious.
You know, people who don't drink Wilkins coffee just blow up sometimes.
Oh, that's a lot of...
See what I mean?
Return to us. We await you, oh beloved of the old faith.
Camilla York. She is to blame, Catherine, for everything.
And how do you know I'll be bored out of my mind?
Well, spending a week with an uncle you've never even met.
Catherine, no.
So I know why you're going. You're hearing those voices again, haven't you?
They're not voices. They're premonitions.
I saw something. You are a direct descendant of Camilla York. But I saw it, Stephen. But it wasn't my parents who were burning. It was me.
If you've ruined my plans, Stephen, I'll kill you. I can promise you that. Vicious, isn't it?
What have I done?
Made me fall in love with you.
That boy's a complete mystery to me. One moment I fear for his sanity, and the next butter wouldn't melt in his mouth. Seek her out. It's taken a long time, but now you belong to us.
I'm sure a few of you saw X-rated. What is Jeff going to share? The trailer for Deep Throat or something? It's my understanding, and of course, I've never lived in England, but it's my understanding that in the 60s, that the X rating was, in essence, our R rating here in the United States. But I don't know. I didn't really see too much of that. That was like, wow, that should be rated R. A few people were talking about Good and Plenty. It's like, I'm not a fan of Good and Plenty either. I always enjoyed the Good and Fruity. I thought the Good and Fruity were pretty good candies. Blanchette Sue is with us in chat once again. Welcome. Good to have you popping on in. All right, so we got a couple of questions that floated out there that we can kind of tackle here tonight. All right, let's go back. Trying to remember what the first one, because there's a second one I saw. Oh, okay. Well, Keith McGrath was asking, what am I currently playing? They are playing Symbaroum. I am not currently running anything, but we are going to be playing a fantasy role-playing game. We are just currently a little up in the air about what we want to do. So, because here's the problem that we encounter. Elliot can't make it to like a game night very often. We won't get into the reasons behind it, but he's got a family he's got to worry about. So, not that, there's like anybody like that he's got to care for or anything like that. It's just, he has other responsibilities. So a lot of times my brother and my nephew and I are all set to get together to play stuff, and Elliot just can't make it. So that doesn't bode very well for running a role-playing game campaign. So we're always trying to see, well, who else can we maybe add in to the mix? But I also floated the idea that maybe I would run something on Foundry. Now, if you happen to be on the Discord server for the Gaming Gang, I had mentioned that I'd been kicking around, maybe running a couple of Foundry campaigns, a couple of different games, maybe doing, once a month, something like that. And that would be on top of it. So anyway, so I had considered, well, maybe we could just sometimes play on Foundry and just kind of carry on the campaign when Elliot can't make it over. So keeping that in mind, it's sort of like, okay, so now what role-playing game system do I want to use on Foundry? Because some are very well ported over and others are kind of broken. So Shazam85 says, when we have a friend like Elliot, we keep them as a character, as a drop-off guest star, like the old TV shows that had recurring guests. Keith asks if I play solo games. I do not play solo role-playing games. I am not into journaling games or anything like that. I will play solitaire board games, but no, Agile Monk is popping on in. Good to see ya. So they're just listening in tonight. Relighter Gamer says, excuses, Elliot, excuses. Doom Colonist said, yes, I was correct about that X rating. Thought so. So I'm considering touching base with Troll Lord Games and their Castles and Crusades for Foundry. But I also know that I think one of the books they haven't finished up yet. So it's kind of like, And then I thought, well, I can maybe do Tales of the Valiant. Just do Tales of the Valiant, but because I want to do like old school adventuring, right? I want to share some old TSR modules and, go from there. So, Pete's Rackwood said they're running Dungeon Crawl Classics, The Queen of Elfland's Son, this upcoming week. We played some Dungeon Crawl Classics. We played Sailors on the Starless Sea, which everybody enjoyed. And then I was actually moving into, it's another Harley Stroh adventure. where they're saving a town that's being terrorized by this kind of like ghostly hound, but we didn't finish it up. And then it was like months before Elliot could make it over to my brother's again. So yeah. Yes, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay I've run a little bit for the gang. They enjoyed that. And yes, WIFRIP is well supported on Foundry. Somebody just asked, what is the most popular role-playing game on Foundry? I would have to guess it's probably D&D. But I would say probably a close second is going to be Pathfinder, because Pathfinder is the ports they've done, the implementation, I should say, that they've done for Pathfinder is excellent. Everybody crows about how easy it is to both run and play Pathfinder on Foundry. So pretty sweet. I would consider Call of Cthulhu. I started running Call of Cthulhu, but once again, ran into that situation where all of a sudden Elliot couldn't make it over for a few months, and it was like, oh, okay, well, there goes that. Sean Rowell says D&D is only supported by third party on Foundry. I know that, but I thought there's also I don't know if it's something that's not supposed to be publicly known or something. I don't know. I thought there were a couple of mods that allowed people to port over adventures and books and stuff like that from D&D Beyond. I don't know how well it works. So, Chris Leinrand says they're running Slave Pits of the Undercity, a part of their 4-year Osric game. They were shocked at the one room with the 8 ghouls and 2 ghasts, but they survived. Very cool. Very nice. Very nice. Keith says, I guess just jump into a 2nd edition Pathfinder game. I considered that, but once again, I want to run something old school. I don't know exactly which TSR modules I would run, and probably throw in some adventures from Dragon Magazine. Not necessarily Dungeon Magazine. I'll be the first to say that I've not read every issue of Dragon or Dungeon Magazine, but I always found the Dragon Magazine adventures to at least be more kind of my style, as opposed to some of the stuff from Dungeon. Not to say that there weren't ever good, adventures in Dungeon. Shazam85 says they're too invested in Fantasy Grounds to rebuy everything or get it to work in Foundry. I do also have a Fantasy Grounds license. I don't have Fantasy Grounds, or is it Unity? I think it was. That I don't have. So I really don't have any true allegiance. I just happen to like Foundry better than Fantasy Grounds, but I haven't even looked at Fantasy Grounds in 3 years, maybe even a little more than that. All right. Anything else to tackle tonight? Shazam85 says, would you like to do a review or look through of a Dungeon magazine? I actually have them all digitally. I actually had the old discs, so I now have those on a hard drive, a portable hard drive. Funny thing is, there are some outlets out there. There are some websites out there that do go through the issues of the Dragon, or I shouldn't say the Dragon. It's Dragon. I don't know why I always called it the Dragon magazine. It's Dragon magazine. Duh. Anyway, because I had considered doing that, and people were like, "Oh no." A few people were like, "Hey, didn't you know that so and so's done that? So and so's done that." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah." Kevin R. Smith. I forgot to say hello to Kevin R. Smith when he popped on in right before we went to our brief intermission. Says it was called the Dragon for a while in the 70s. Yeah, okay. Maybe that's why I always call it the Dragon, because I just revert to all the way back when it was more like a newsletter. DB says, I didn't watch so-and-so though. Yeah, but you got to remember, you got to keep in mind, you might watch the video, but YouTube's not going to share the video with anybody because YouTube doesn't like when you repeat stuff. Plus, we've already talked about it before that YouTube doesn't share videos from this channel with as many people as it once did. But anyway, Temple of the Frog, man, Relighter Gamers, somebody else had mentioned this. You got like frogs on the brain tonight. What did you have for dinner? Frog legs? Is that what's going on here? Question was, how long are my game sessions? Sadly, that has a lot to do with how much time Elliot has he can hang out. We try to do at least 4 hours. Now, we got together on Monday, but we ended up just playing board games because Cameron, he was gone for 5 weeks with his Air National Guard stuff. And then he just got back, and my brother forgot to tell him that we were getting together on Monday. So thankfully I knew ahead of time, because I was like, yeah, maybe we'll get started on, playing a role-playing game. And then my brother was like, well, Cameron's got friends coming over, so he's not going to be playing. And I was like, oh, all right. Well, I guess I'll bring some board games over. Oh my God, somebody's talking about, Kevin R. Smith's talking about Fatal. Jeez, I heard that is just absolute trash. Okay, so there was another question that popped up. I think it was Christopher asked this. I guess I should say Chris, not Christopher. He asked if there were, many other free role-playing games out there outside of basic fantasy. Now, I will say there are certainly no role-playing games out there that have the sheer amount of content. Jack Hank says, have you thought about doing an online game they would love to play? I have floated that out there. I floated that out there on the Discord server. But it would be $20 a player per session. Depending on the number of players. So if it was only like 4 players, it'd be $25 a session. So just pointing that out. Crooks44 asks, has Crown and Skull been flipped through, reviewed on the channel? That's kind of funny. But I'll tell you what, let's tackle the other question, and then Crown and Skull will be the last question for tonight. Okay, so free RPGs that are out there. There are loads and loads of absolutely free role-playing games out there that I don't know about. So keep that in mind. A great source is Drive-Thru RPG for some things. Take a look at Pay What You Want, because Pay What You Want can be $0. And publishers understand that. Publishers do not have an issue if you download what they're offering as Pay What You Want for free, because it is possible that you might buy it later on down the line. Jack Hanks is sharing one right off the bat. it's really any of the Sign Nominee releases, any of the Without Number games have a free edition. So Stars Without Number, Worlds Without Number, the Cyberpunk one I think it's finished, Cities Without Number, all of it absolutely free. Now, the paid editions do have artwork because I think the free ones do not. And the paid editions have a bit more content in them. So you've got that. Peaceful Porcupine points out lots of free games online if you're in the low crunch side. Mini 6, variant of the old West End Games Star Wars role-playing games, free download, as is the Star Wars role-playing game from West End Games, and all of the releases that came out from West End Games are all available absolutely free, and you are not breaking any laws by downloading it. You're not a pirate for downloading it. Ashes Without Number is the post-apocalyptic game that's going to come out, and that will also have an edition that's absolutely free. I mean, we're talking few hundred pages of free gaming. Of course, they all use the same mechanics. So if you're not a fan of those mechanics, but let's see, as Sean O'Donnell points out, Cairn is free. A lot of abandoned role-playing games are available for free. Archive.org is a good source to take a peek at stuff as far as out-of-print role-playing games in PDF download. So you've got that. Shazama85 points out you've got the SRDs, these system reference documents. So a great many role-playing games have the SRDs absolutely free for you to download. I can't say that you're really going to get a lot of entertainment, I guess. Maybe I'll say reading SRDs, because they're designed for third parties to create content. That's really the purpose of an SRD, thus the reference part of the document. But you can draw the rules from there. So yeah, I guess you could get away with it. So Kevin R. Smith says the basic rules for D&D 5.5 are only available on D&D Beyond, though the SRD is widely available. I didn't even realize they had free basic rules. That's kind of wild. But let's see. Straight Kismet, ever consider an XCall classic game? If you die, you get replaced the next month. Our sponsors could be creators, companies. You know, I like Goodman Games. I really do. I share news about Goodman Games all the time. But, you know, they're not keen on reviewers. So, hey, here was the question. Have I done a look at Crown and Skull from Runehammer Games? And I have not, and I've heard good things about it. I reviewed Index Card Role-Playing Game and really liked it. So I commented something on Twitter about a review. I think it had something to do with, because I can't tell you how many publishers send review copies. You do a review and they don't share it with anybody. They don't even acknowledge it. We've talked about Paizo Inc., but that's Paizo Inc.'s thing, as Stephen from Roll for Combat has pointed out. So anyway, I forget, it was something along the lines of, I don't understand publishers sending review copies and you share the review and the review is very positive and, nothing happens. So hankering for an ale, which we know that, it's not really his name, had commented something along the lines of, well, I don't give much credence to reviews from review copies. I'm paraphrasing, right? And I was like, wait a second. Like, but you sent me a review copy of Index Card Role-Playing Game. So I commented and I said, well, you sent me a review copy of ICRPG. Are you implying that that review wasn't legit? And he came back and he's like, hey, don't shout at me. And I didn't all caps or anything like that. But, it's X. So you got that character limit that you're trying to squeeze, everything you want to say into it. So it was like, hey, I was just mentioning whatever. And I said, for one, I wasn't shouting at you. I said, remember, there's only so many characters I can use on Twitter. I was like, my reply was simply, okay, so you don't think reviews for something that was provided to somebody as a review copy are that legit? But he sent me a review copy of your game. So it's like, and I think he had kind of jumped on another comment somebody had made. Somebody had made a comment saying something about paying for the item. And I said, lots of luck finding an outlet that is going to end up sitting there and purchasing every single thing that they review. Because it's unless there's somebody who's got, tens of thousands or if not hundreds of thousands of subscribers on their channel, they don't have the funds to be buying everything they review. And then I think that's when Runehammer jumped in. But I was kind of like, okay. So obviously enough, I have not said, oh, hey, let me review Crown and Skull. But yeah, I like Runehammer stuff. So, I mean, when they were doing the Crown and Skull Kickstarter, I was sharing news about it and stuff. So there you go. All righty. That is it for this time out. You know what? I think on tomorrow's show, we will actually do a first look at More Prepared from Cobalt Press, even though I've started reading it because I want to get a review of it out this weekend. Yeah, I think we'll do a first look. Have you take a peek at it. That is the adventure supplement from Cobalt Press for Tales of the Valiant. And it is 30 adventures ranging from 1st through 15th level. Very nice. Very cool. All right. Peaceful Porcupines. I'm curious what they were talking about. What role-playing? Oh, Battletech. Okay. Yeah, I kind of stay away from Catalyst Game Labs too. But all right. Anyway, if you were watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, tip of the cap to you. Because not only are you keeping me company, you're keeping each other company as I'm sharing the news or pontificating or what have you. But of course, I know a lot of folks out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you kindly for taking time out to watch any of the over 2,200 videos here on the channel. Yay. Don't forget, if you'd like to support the Gaming Gang, we do have a Patreon. The link is in the show notes. And if you want to hang with the gang over on Discord, there's also an invite to our Discord server in those show notes. Thank you very much for watching. And of course, if you like the video, give it a quick thumbs up, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel. And of course, if you happen to subscribe, be sure to ring that bell, because if you ring the bell, you'll be notified not only when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Central. I'll also let you know when I share other videos, such as my recent review of Warhammer 40K Roleplay, Wrath and Glory, Threat Assessment, Demons and Heretics. Say that 5 times fast. I will be back tomorrow. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. And as always, I certainly hope every single one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.